Ever felt frustrated being told PMS, heavy bleeding, and cramping are just normal parts of life? You are not alone. I loathed my monthly cycle for decades. That all changed when I earned 3 health coaching certifications discovering something incredible. Your period is vital. It is an outward sign of your inner health, and it holds the key to unlocking your full potential. I've been there battling heavy, painful periods, and I turn them into cycles with minimal PMS and cramping. Today, I'm on a mission to share that information with you. Pour a cup of your favorite drink, get comfy, and grab your headphones as we embark on a candid and empowering journey of self-discovery. Together, we'll demystify menstrual cycles, explore cyclical living, delve into natural birth control, and guide parents through those crucial period talks with tweens and teens. It's time to break the taboo around menstruation and embrace the wisdom it holds. I'm your host, Heather Allmendinger, and this is the Embracing Flow podcast. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Embracing Flow. I'd like to introduce our guest today, who is an expert at embracing flow, Majet Reyes. How are you doing today, Majet?
I am doing very, very well. I'm super excited today. I am so happy to talk to you because I learn a lot from you, and it's always a great conversation chatting with you, Heather. So I'm so happy and excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I am just overjoyed having you here as well. So let's get to know a little bit about Majet here. She is an MSLPC, is an immigrant, former paramedic, and now a trauma therapist who gives unconditional positive regard to her clients, who are mostly first responders, healthcare professionals, creatives, and BIPOC. Majet is the owner of DivaGirl Tribe, which is a lifestyle community that educates and empowers women by hosting conferences, workshops, and volunteer trips abroad in Nepal, Ghana, Belize, Peru, and India. Majet helps people find fulfillment through counseling, community, and counseling. She loves to ski, boogie board, reading, and traveling. Oh my goodness, Majet, you have so much going on and have done so much with your DivaGirl Tribe and in your life. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Embracing Flow.
Well, thank you for having me. Yes, and we did meet because of the conference last year. Like not at the conference, before the conference, but it's about you were talking about embracing flow. So I'm just like, you were calling it something else. It was something. You gave me a term, and I was just like, oh, what is that? Tell me more about you. And I'm just like, hooked. I'm like, Heather, I love you. I love your topic. You need to tell the world about it. So I'm going to digress.
Well, actually, it fits right in because I ask all of my guests, at what age and how was your first experience with your first period?
This is such a fabulous question because nobody asked this question. It's such a taboo, right? Ask that, but Heather asked that question, of course. And I love that about you. So to answer your question, I was 12. I was 12. And it was September 17th. I was 12 years old. I was in 6th grade. And how was it? It was I wasn't prepared for it. I mean, I went to an all-girls Catholic school, so we know about it. We spoke about it, but no one really prepared us on what to do, right? Like they're expecting us like to get our period. Everybody's at home, right, on a weekend with our parents. But no, it happened at school, and it was a lunchtime, and I'm like, I don't have anything. I wasn't prepared, and then one of the girls in the bathroom, it was lunchtime, so there were a lot of girls in the bathroom. And then she's like, "Oh, I have an extra pad." But without that person, it's like I wouldn't have anything. They didn't tell us that, oh, when this happened, you go to the nurse, right? Because that's something that I think about now with my 10-year-old daughter. I'm like, okay, when this happens, like when you get your period, you're going to tell your teacher, and your teacher should send you to the nurse. They also don't talk to parents about it. So yeah, that's kind of like my experience. Like I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I've heard of it. I know about it. I know people who've had it, but what do I do now? Right? I see blood. I'm in a bathroom. What do I do now? Right?
And
I didn't prepare anything. I didn't bring anything with me. So yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah, and I've heard those that have experiences similar to yours. I've heard of ones that were prepared because their their parents saw the development as they got closer and made sure that there was, a small bag in their backpack so that they were prepared, and then others that went to the bathroom, saw the blood, freaked out, thought they were dying because they've never heard about what was gonna happen to them. So it's kind of like those thirds. And honestly, it's more I'm coming across more that kind of knew what was gonna happen but wasn't prepared, and those that were unprepared completely, knew nothing about it. I mean, you said you had a daughter. How now that you know kind of what's are you noticing she's getting into that age that she's getting ready for her first cycle? Have you spoken to her about her first cycle? Is she prepared better than what you were when you went through that stage?
Yes, 100%. She's definitely more prepared than I was when I was at that age. So, my assumption is that she'll probably get it, the same age as I did. However, anything is possible. She can have it tomorrow, she can have it today. But anyways, but we have spoken about it. And it's something that, I was very mindful and adamant about the conference last year, right? Or this year. Like the conference is about the reproductive system, like what female reproductive system. And that was why I was very attracted to what you talk about, right? I wish I knew you before the conference because I would have put you on stage. But it's like as I meet these women, women like you who are very vocal about the female reproductive system, especially when it comes to your flow, especially when it comes to your period, right? And the cycle, or even perimenopause, where I am now, and and menopause, like this. I didn't meet a lot of women before who are like you, and then I started going through perimenopause, and I realized that I need to talk more about this, and that women like you started showing up in my life, and then hearing what you had said, hearing what the other speakers had said, I'm like, I need to prepare my daughter. I need to
Yeah.
prepare my 10-year-old and talk more about this to her. So when I have my period, like I will tell her, mommy has her period, and and she's not feeling comfortable, and and this is what I use, right? This is what I
Mhm.
do. I drink more water and I rest as much as I can, right? Before, and you and I have talked about this, I was all about, no, so what if I got my period? I'm gonna push through, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna prove my worth, and I'm like suffering, right?
Uh-huh.
And now I'm more attuned to my body, and I'm more like, okay, well, I'm bleeding, right?
Yep.
And I'm in pain, and I need to be kinder and more compassionate to myself. And I talk to my daughter about that. And so she hears me talk about it. It's not a taboo thing. There's no stigma, right? It's a normal part of being a female. And and when we go to the grocery store, or not grocery, but see, a drugstore, we would see pads, and I would tell her, so these are the ones that, I use, or I'm using, and there's something you would use soon too. So, and then I told her that, there will come a time that this may happen for you at school. This is what, I don't know if you guys have talked about it. I haven't heard anything about you, you being taught about this yet. I would like for you to tell your teacher, and then, ask to go to the nurse.
Yep.
Yeah. And hope that the nurse are prepared for that. Right. Oh my God, Heather.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking maybe I should email them and ask if, what are they going to do if, the females, student, get their period, first period. And then I need to prepare like a little backing for her, and, to take to school soon. And I haven't taken that step yet, but this is a great reminder that I need to take that step right away.
It it's a great thing that you are cognizant of where your daughter's at, being open with her so that way she knows what to expect and what to do when it does happen. We are
Uh-huh.
so I mean, as in your background, you know that we are better prepared when we understand kind of what's going on. That we
Uh-huh.
have when we know, okay, it's that lack of fear of the unknown. You're taking the unknown out of this next step. She knows this is what's going to happen. She knows what she can do, and it actually brings peace because it's not something to be afraid of. It's not something to run from. And you had mentioned earlier that you started putting some of those practices into place. How do you feel post menstruation now that you rest versus post menstruation when you pushed through?
Whoa. It's like, well, if I can, if if I can share like how I dealt with it before, it's like it's really like it lingers more. Like the like it just feels more exhausting in the past. But now, like it's so different from how I feel now about my period, about resting, about taking care of myself more, and actually use, use syncing, right? Syncing my cycle calendar with my work calendar, right? And really doing my best to coordinate those dates, right? And then not take as much clients or as much work during those or not plan events, right?
Yeah.
During those times because Heather, you know how many conferences with Diva Girls that I plan and I'm bleeding and I'm like, it's harder to enjoy it. It
Yep.
was harder to enjoy. I was in pain, and I wasn't caring for myself. But and then I'm like, instead of me fully enjoying that moment, right? Like I couldn't because my mind is somewhere else. My body's not fully 100%. And then, and I'm in pain. But now that I have followed, like your tips and your strategies, and I'm like, I am more cognizant, just like what you said. Like when I plan something, I need to look at my calendar and make sure that that I am in that stage of my cycle, that I'm very energetic, just like how I feel right now. And if there are any like errors that I did, like, or my period didn't come on the same week that I was hoping it to on my calendar, then, then I don't push either. Like, I don't push myself. I don't push the appointment. I am kinder and more compassionate to myself. And I speak it out loudly. I had a podcast interview, 2 Fridays ago, and I got my period. I was supposed to get my period beginning of last week, but I
Mhm.
got it at the end of the week before that. And I had a podcast interview, and it was my second day. I'm like, I want to be in this podcast interview. However, like it's a conference. It's a super trauma course. It's a big deal. I'm like, can I please reschedule because I want to show up 100%, and I am in a lot of pain right now. Actually, it was the day before. I mean,
Mhm.
it's the first day. I emailed them the first day I got my period. And the interview was supposed to be the next day. And I said, I'm sorry for rescheduling, but I want to show up 100%. I want to show up happy and really, like just excited about this trauma conference that I'm presenting at. But if I'm going to do this on the second day of my period, like I'm not going to be 100%,
Yeah.
right? I wouldn't be able to show up, enjoying this interaction, teaching and all that stuff. So they allowed me to reschedule. And then I showed up the following week, like in a more energetic state, a
Yep.
100%, giving my all. And and I was proud of that moment, right? For me
Yeah.
to be able to advocate for myself, and also to be able to show up for them fully. But before this knowledge that you have taught me, I would have been, you know what, fine, like it's an excuse that, it's unexcusable, I'm just gonna show up. But I'll be resentful, I'll be angry, I'll probably be like regretting, like I didn't show up the way I wanted to show up, and I probably would have screwed up that, that important, right, very important event, like for me to talk about trauma, right? So it's like, I'm glad that I honored myself. I'm glad that I honored, my reproductive organs, and, and advocated for myself, for my body, so that I can show up and and give the best of me, right?
Yep.
For other people. So
You
long
have
answer to your short question.
you have been empowered by what I teach, which is exactly why I got into what I do, and I love it.
I love that how you summarize that. Like, it was empowering. You're right. That's what
Yes.
it was. Like having this knowledge and being able to have this strategies, this tips, this tools, right? It's empowering for me. Yeah, that is the best way to summarize that. It was empowering. Yeah. Yeah.
Before we go, where can listeners find more about you and what you do, especially this Diva Girl Tribe? Because it sounds amazing. So how can we find you?
Yes. So make sure to follow us on Instagram, Diva Girl Community, and you can hear all about my trauma work as a trauma counselor at Philly Trauma Counselor. on Instagram as well. If you would like to know more and dive into more like the Diva Girl, go to our website, www.divagirltribe.com. Or if you would like to learn more about my trauma work as a trauma therapist, you can go to resilientmindworks.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Majet, for being with us today. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we say goodbye?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And my final words is take care of yourself, love yourself a lot, because it's hard to love other people if you don't start with yourself first.
All right. Wow. Those are amazing words of wisdom to end on. Thank you so much for taking us on this enlightening journey into how you've used this your first menstruation and how you're using the information that you've learned in your life. I'm so grateful that you're here. All the links that Majet has mentioned are in the show notes. Thank you, listeners, for spending your time with us today. If you found a nugget of wisdom or a moment of empowerment, my mission is accomplished. Do you know someone that could benefit from this information? Please share Embracing Flow with them. Until next time, love hard, laugh often, and as always, be vividous. See you soon. Thank you so much for joining us today on Embracing Flow. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the show, submit a rating and review, and share it with your friends. Visit my website to receive your free PDF on 4 ways to decrease PMS. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, love hard, laugh often, and as always, be vividous.